By now, we've all seen the news. The Indian rupee is maintaining its envious streak, sliding faster than a soap in the shower. One day it's 90 something to the dollar, the next day it's auditioning for 100, and inflation, well, let's not even talk about it. Kya pata, gussa kar aur muh fula le. And at this rate, forget paper notes. The time is not far when we'll be left clutching a handful of coins, praying one of them is still worth something. Heads or tails, it doesn't matter. We are losing either way. Hello, namaste and welcome. You're watching Kahaniyat, where we turn news into narratives and questions into conversations. And today's narrative is about one-sided coin, or at least the side the government of today would want us to believe is the whole truth. But hey, coins have two sides, right? Most of us have played heads and tails as children. It is never heads forever, and it is never tails forever either. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and that is how reality works. A coin always has two sides, always. And you only understand it when you are willing to look at both. Now keep that in mind. In India, over the last decade or so, the ruling government has decided to show us only one side of the coin. Not because the other side does not exist, but because the other side is ugly. It is marked by their failures and they do not want to see it or show it. Take the recent US deal, for instance, or rather take the embarrassing celebration around it. Huge garlands, bright lights, photo ops, applause, almost a victory parade. The regular jazz, you see. But before the celebration, let us look at what actually happened. Before this deal, Indian exports to the United States were hit with tariffs as high as 50%, 25% for importing oil from Russia, a punitive tariff, punishment tariff, you see, real economic pressure, and this deal brings those tariffs down to around 18%. So from 50, we've come down to 18%. It does offer some breathing space, but the government has not offered any clarity yet. This rollback did not come for free. US officials linked it to India agreeing to reducing imports of Russian oil, something the Indian government has not openly or clearly spoken about. At the same time, India had to pull back from Chahbar port after the United States refused to renew the sanction waiver. This cannot be another coincidence, right? And yes, this is the same Chahbar port whose entire credit was claimed by the Honorable Prime Minister in an exclusive interview where, of course, his preferred journalists were invited, and uncomfortable questions were carefully kept out. So let us ask the obvious questions. What exactly is the deal? What are the terms? What did India give up? And most importantly, what did India gain? An accountable government explains outcomes. It does not replace explanation with decoration, drama, and noise. And while members of the ruling party are busy garlanding one moment, they should also be talking about moments they have quietly shoved under the carpet. Moments that offer glaring evidence of their failure, incompetence, and absolute detachment from the people. The Mahakumbh stampede, the New Delhi railway station stampede, Manipur burning for over a year, water contamination, air quality touching emergency levels, gold and silver prices skyrocketing at supersonic speeds, the value of money tumbling down like Humpty Dumpty from the nursery rhyme, evergreen unemployment, and of course the perennial inflation. In moments of celebration, the Prime Minister is everywhere, on billboards, on ration cards, on bags, on televisions, and rightfully so. After all, he is the Prime Minister, but the question that troubles is his absolute silence and vanishing acts in moments of crisis. He is nowhere to be seen, no address, no accountability, no solidarity, but notice this. When it comes to arresting scholars, activists, and people who ask questions, the state suddenly becomes very efficient, always in the name of national security and national integrity. But when a foreign head of state repeatedly makes statements that are humiliating and derogatory to India as a country, there is complete silence. There is no outrage, there is no defense, no chest-thumping nationalism and journalism. And this is where the question of sovereignty comes in. We are not a dominion. We are not a client state. We are not a subsidiary of the United States of America. For those who do not know, India became independent on August 15, 1947 after a long and hard-fought struggle. Sovereignty is not a favor, it is a fact. So when the president of another country belittles India, not a leader but an entire nation, why do the garland-loving, photo-obsessed party members and the supreme leader not respond? Why does national pride suddenly disappear? Why is national integrity selective? We need to be thinking about this because from the outside, it increasingly feels like the idea of the nation has been replaced by the image of one person. And I don't even need to tell you who that one person is. We once carried Indian passports. Now it feels like we are being asked to carry loyalty cards, iska parivar, and at this rate, maybe we should just remove India from our passports and replace it with a surname because that seems to be the only identity that matters. This is not governance, this is branding, and branding without accountability is not leadership, it is drama. It is pure chaos. And as I conclude, I would reiterate that we are still a democracy, at least on paper, and a democracy cannot survive on one side of the coin. When tragedy follows anonymity and silence, when the nation and its people are disowned and abandoned in times of crisis, the question is no longer about national integrity, national security, or internal security. The question is simple: has the person replaced the nation?